Bowden, and this is my YouTube video about genetically modified salmon. The first question is, what are genetically engineered salmon? Well, the genetically engineered salmon were created in a laboratory by Aqua Bounty Technologies. Their plan was to breed the Aqua Advantage salmon, which was a genetic mixture of ocean pout and Pacific Chinook salmon from the Prince Edward Islands Rollo Bay. This mixture of genes allows the continued production of growth hormones, which accelerates the growth and development of these salmon on farms. These salmon can grow twice as fast as normal salmon, reaching the market weight of 8 to 12 pounds in 18 months instead of 36. These salmon were approved by the FDA in 2015 after finding that they did not pose a significant health risk. However, there is still a lot of controversy surrounding their approval, with claims that the environmental impact of these salmon were not considered. Why are these salmon of interest? Well, the genetically engineered salmon are of particular interest to the public because they are the first genetically modified animal marketed for human consumption. There are also ethical and environmental concerns that have surrounded the creation of genetically engineered plants, so naturally many people are skeptical of a genetically modified animal. There are also economic consequences of their introduction into the seafood industry, such as an overall increase in the aggregate demand. What do we know about genetic salmon? Well, we know that there have been studies that aim to assess the economic, environmental, and public health ramifications of the introduction of these salmon into the market. These studies have been mostly inconclusive, stating that there is more research that needs to be performed. However, we do not know the overall impact of these salmon on the wild salmon population. If the introduction of these salmon increases the aggregate demand for salmon, as Aqua Bounty Technology claims it will, there will be more strain on the ocean's ecosystem in terms of the amount of feed needed. Even if the Aqua Advantage salmon in and of themselves consume less feed per pound of salmon produced. The FDA claims that these salmon are safe for human consumption. However, this decision did not have the environmental consequences factored into it. This decision is beyond the scope of the FDA, and many believe that this decision was an overreach. What controversies surround genetically modified salmon? Although the FDA approved the Aqua Advantage salmon for consumption, many people do not think that these salmon are beneficial from a human health standpoint as well as from an environmental standpoint. Although the impact assessment studies have been done on the introduction of these salmon into the market, there is still not much that we know about the impacts of these salmon on the environment and on human health. Potential allergens need to be assessed, since many people with severe seafood allergies could be potential customers. The environmental ramifications of the accidental release of these salmon, as well as the environmental consequences of farming fish in general, also need to be studied in the context of genetically engineered salmon. The consequences of the accidental release of these fish are also not agreed upon by experts. Genetically modified foods have long been controversial, and studies show that many people will spend more money in order to purchase foods that are labeled as non-GMO. The question still persists on whether genetically modified salmon are going to become a staple in the American diet, and whether other companies will follow suit in creating genetically engineered livestock, since, in many ways, public and governmental reception of these genetically modified salmon will set precedent for genetically engineered animals overall.